I am Patty Beneke. I'm the Regional Director for North America for the United Nations Environment Program. And I'd like to just stop for a minute and say congratulations to the organizers. From everything I can tell and everything I've heard, this has been a terrific gathering. And I think it has the potential to really catalyze some new partnerships and new work together. And we are thrilled about that. How many of you thought you'd be in Washington, D.C. on Election Day? Yeah. Well, let me just say we've experienced a pretty interesting 24 hours here, and I'm going to keep with my script, but I think it is probably a good time to emphasize the importance of gatherings like this, the importance of collaboration, the importance of partnerships, and getting together to trade good ideas and focus on important issues and items for action, to share our approaches, and to help solve global problems. And food loss and waste is truly an important global problem. We at the Regional Office for North America, which is just a few blocks away here in Washington, D.C., focus on issues pertinent to North America, including food waste, including a couple others that I'll just mention: marine debris, the Arctic, air quality, and climate change. We also do a lot of work to connect resources with our global program. We function all around the world, as I'm sure you're aware. We have a really excellent group working on sustainable consumption and production and food waste out of our Paris office, and they are very aware of this gathering and happy that you all are here and that we're working on it. Now, I have a few slides here. I'm going to try to just zoom through them. They probably pretty much recap many things that you've heard, but there are some initiatives that UN Environment is engaged in that I wanted to highlight for you as the way forward. One of the things you can participate in and give us better ideas on as we look to the way forward. And then I took the liberty of just listing some themes and ideas that I had heard when I was here on Monday, and also from the staff from our office who have been here attending all of the sessions. So I'll zoom through this because I think the important part here is the discussion. So you all have heard about the Sustainable Development Goals. You've all heard about Development Goal Target 12.3. Our executive director, Eric Solheim, co-chairs Champions 12.3, which you'll recall is this unique coalition of executives collaborating to accelerate progress on the delivery of this critical target. We know that the challenge requires global commitment and country-level engagement, and UNEP has been collaborating with FAO to respond to the Secretary General's Zero Hunger Challenge and Sustainable Development Goal Target 12.3. So we continue to be very interested in getting more partners on this challenge, Champions 12.3. Specifically, what we do in this Champions 12.3 is to try to encourage people to lead by example, to showcase successes and communicate to peers in the media what we're doing out there, what all the partners are doing out there, and to advocate for improving the enabling conditions when engaging other leaders. So if you know CEOs, if you know others that might want to participate in Champions 12.3, send them our direction, send them to the World Resources Institute. You heard Craig Hansen from WRI here on Monday, and he is working very hard to coordinate all of this. Champions 12.3 provides 3 recommendations for meeting SDG target 12.3 by 2030. It's to have every country, major city, and company set food loss and waste reduction targets consistent with the target 12.3, to measure, quantify, and report on food loss and waste, monitor progress over time, and then act. Governments, companies, and civil society should accelerate and scale up adoption of policies, incentives, investment, and practices that reduce food loss and waste. So, UN Environment encourages countries and companies to quantify their food loss and waste, setting a baseline to track progress towards 2030. And towards this end, we worked with WRI and other partners to develop a food loss and waste protocol that provides a global standard for food loss and waste measurements. And that is the website for that protocol. You know, one of the very important and interesting issues about this is getting the definitions right. What's food loss, what's food waste, what counts as food, et cetera. So this protocol helps to standardize and helps entities quantify what is going on. We also, several years ago, entered into a partnership with the Food and Agriculture Organization called Think, Eat, Save. It works specifically on food waste prevention as opposed to food loss prevention. And it is really an effort to raise awareness, but has been quite successful and is an ongoing effort. So I encourage you to take a look at that program and that website. Let me see. Think, Eat, Save. Under this program, we put out guidance, which provides a clear structure for developing food waste prevention programs, and that can be adapted to any country. So we've got 4 modules as part of this guidance, and that includes mapping and measurement, a policy module, a module on actions that can be taken by individual households, and a module on preventing food loss and waste in the business supply chain. So we've got Champions 12.3, we've got the food loss and waste protocol, we've got this guidance for addressing food loss and waste that can be tailored to local needs. One item that our colleagues in Paris who are working on this project have identified, one item that they identified has to do with a program for household food waste measurement. They feel that there is a need for further work on this. They of course suggest a grant program, and they believe that there's an urgent need to support governments in emerging and developing countries to measure household food waste and provide baseline data. UN Environment and the technical expert known as RAP are in discussions with governments in South Africa, Thailand, and Mexico about developing household food waste baselines. Finally, my infomercial about our ongoing video contest that we have launched with the Commission for Environmental Cooperation. I mentioned this Monday morning when I seized the microphone, and I will mention it again. We're asking civil society and any other participant who's interested to submit a short video on how they are addressing food loss and waste. The deadline is December 9th, and I'm told that there will be an eminent panel that will judge these. I think Cesar is going to be on it. I don't know that I've been invited yet, but I'd like to. And we also hope that they will be able to attend, and we'll facilitate their attendance at a food waste seminar that's going to be taking place in Canada early next year. So tell people about this and promote it. We want people to really be thinking about it. And then finally, these were a few observations, and I know Robert is going to talk about this as well, sort of to summarize. What are the themes? First of all, I've heard people here talk about the importance of communications and public awareness raising. And, you know, I think it's critical. People need to know this is a problem. When I tell people that I know here in the U.S. that we waste how much food? A third of the food or more that we grow, that a third or more of that food is lost or wasted in the U.S., they're appalled. So I think getting the word out, communications, public awareness raising, essential to our efforts. Partnerships. Everybody has a role in this. I think private sector, public sector, NGOs, civil society, food banks, you know, all of us in this room know people that could engage on addressing this problem. Clearly, the importance of measuring, quantifying, and managing cannot be overemphasized. And that, I guess it was Craig that said, you can't manage what you don't measure. And absolutely true. So we need to be working on this food waste protocol. We need to figure out a standardized means of knowing how much food is being lost and wasted. Role of technology and innovation, certainly on the food loss side, refrigeration, transportation, all of that is crucial. On the food waste side, you know, that's important too. I live out in a county that doesn't compost, doesn't collect compost, and I was asking a friend, I said, I feel guilty. I'm throwing out this food. I don't compost. You know, how can I address this? Well, there's a company that'll come around and for, I don't know, $20 a month will pick up my waste food every week, which I confess I have, and deliver me a new little empty container for it. So, I mean, that's the kind of innovation. I mean, that's a business opportunity. This happens to be run by a bunch of veterans. So there's innovation happening. I think we need to figure out ways to encourage that. One of our speakers Monday talked about incubators for new innovative techniques and measures, maybe new businesses to help address this. We need to share best practices. That sort of speaks for itself, but you all may have examples of how that can be done or how that is being done. The importance of good consumer information and labeling. If you don't know what the labels on the cans mean, I went through my cupboard and threw out a whole lot of food that was outdated, and somebody said to me later, you didn't need to do that. You know, that food would have been fine, and if it wasn't, you would have known it as soon as you opened the can. So I think people need to have good information. Private sector engagement, making the business case, that came up Monday. If businesses have a business case for why they should reduce loss and waste, they'll do it. If it makes them money, they'll do it. And then finally, I think it's very interesting to contemplate the linkages of this issue with, of course, food security, with environment and climate change. The methane emissions are very consequential, and then with public health. So with that, thank you.